everybody, Sorbeaten here, and welcome back to another CXC CSEC past paper practice video. In this video, we will be continuing with relations, functions, and graph. So let's head straight into this question. So this question says, the function f is defined as, and we have f of x is equal to 3 minus 2x. The diagram below shows the mapping diagram of the function f. Determine the value of a. So here we have x, all the values of x, and here we have the function when you put x into this function, and here we have the result. So when you put -1 into this function, you will get this a as the result. So to find the value of a, all we need to do, we have the function, we can write it back as f of x is equal to 3 minus 2x. So we just put -1 into the function. So this would be f of -1 is equal to 3 subtract 2 multiplied by x. In this case, x is -1. So this is equal to 3. So -2, we can treat this as a -2 multiplied by -1 will give me a +2. In this case, +2. So this would be 3 plus 2 would be 5. So f of -1 is equal to 5. So therefore, we can say a is equal to 5. All we needed to do was substitute this -1, which maps on to a. And that is the value for a. So the second question says, determine in their simplest form expressions for, and we have the first one, the inverse of the function f. And you have the function f inverse of x. So first of all, let's write back the function f of x. Just to remind us what that function is. So the function is f of x is equal to 3 minus 2x. So this is equal to 3 minus 2x. So we want to write an expression for f inverse of x. So we just find in f inverse of x. So we go through the steps. So step 1, replace f of x with y. This will be y is equal to 3 minus 2x. Step 2, we interchange the x and the y. So wherever we have y, we'll put x. Wherever we have x, we'll put y. So this will be x is equal to 3 minus 2y. And step 3, the big step, we solve for y. We make y the subject of the formula. So the first thing we need to do is take over this 3. So we need to be careful and know that this 3 it's adding here. So we take it over, it will subtract. So we'll have x subtract 3 is equal to, and we're left with this piece here, minus 2y. So we take over the -2, and this will become, so the -2 is multiplying. So we take over the -2, it will divide, so you'll have x subtract 3, all divided by -2 is equal to y. Hence we can rewrite this, we can switch it on and have y is equal to x minus 3 all divided by -2. So they want us to write in the simplest form. So here's the thing. A negative in the denominator. So we can break this down a bit further. So what we can do, we can divide both the top and the bottom by negative. So we'll divide here. We'll divide everything by a negative. Well, we can divide everything by a -1, and that will get rid of this negative at the bottom here. So we'll divide the top here by, we'll divide the top here by -1, and we'll divide the bottom here by -1. So when you divide by negative, all you do, you're switching the sign. So we'll have y is equal to, we'll just switch the sign. So this will be -x plus 3, all divided by a +2. And this can further be written as y is equal to, instead of putting the negative in front here, we can have 3 subtract x, all divided by 2. And this can be written as f inverse of x is equal to 3 subtract x all divided by 2. So I did a lot of extra work because I did not want a negative in front here. But let me show you how I can make this a bit easier rather than going through all these additional steps. So let me do back the same question and answer it differently. So let's say I have the same function, f of x is equal to 3 minus 2x. So I want to find the inverse of this, so I replace f of x with y, so you'll have y is equal to 3 minus 2x. And then I exchange the x and the y, so I'll have x is equal to 3 minus 2y. Now this is what I can do. So because I don't like this negative in front of this term with the y, I can just carry over that with the x. So what I'll have now, I'll have x. Now this here is subtracting. When I take it over, it will add. So I'll have x plus 2y is equal to 3. So remember, I'm still making y the subject of the formula. So I do just that. So I'll take over this x. So this x is added. When we take it over, we'll subtract. So we'll have 2y is equal to 3 minus x. Now this 2 is multiplying. When I take it over, it will divide. So we'll have y is equal to 3 minus x, all divided by 2. And then to end off the question, I will say we replace y with the function that we wanted to find, which is the inverse of f of x. So I'll have f inverse of x is equal to 3 minus x, all divided by 2. And that is how I can do that instead of going through this additional step that I had at the bottom here. And this is the answer. So either way you want to work it, you get the same answer. But because it's its simplest form, you want to put it in its simplest form. And with the negative in front here and the negative in the denominator, that can be broken down further. So let's move on to the next question. All right, so this question says, determine in their simplest form expression for the composite function f squared of x. So they give you composite in all caps because of a reason. Now here's the thing, f squared, let's say you have something like y squared, that is the same as y times y, which is the same as y, right? So if you want to find f squared of x, this is the same as f of x. So this is a composite function. You're taking f and you're putting it inside of f. So let's remind ourselves, what is the f function? So the f of x is equal to 3 minus 2x. 3 minus 2x. So this is the function f of x. So we're taking this function and we're putting this function into itself. So we'll have, so we take the function f of x, so it's 3 minus 2. Instead of x, we're putting the function f of x. So 2 multiplied by f of x. So this will be 3 subtract 2 multiplied by f of x. So we see f of x is this function here. This will be 2 multiplied by negative 2 multiplied by 3 subtract 2x. And then we just simplify this. So this will be equal to 3. Now this negative 2 has to multiply throughout here. So negative 2 multiplied by 3, that will be a negative 6. And now the negative 2 multiplied by negative 2x, that would be a positive 4x. And this is 4 to be simplified to 3 minus 6. That would give us a negative 3 plus 4x. So f of x is equal to that. So we can say f squared of x is equal to negative 3 plus 4x. And that is the answer there. So simply, you just put f inside of f. And also, to go back to this question, so they want it in the simplest form. So we don't really like a negative in front here. So we can simply rewrite this and say f squared of x is equal to 4x minus 3. So both these and these two, they are the same thing. We just switch around the order of the terms. And that is the answer for this question in its simplest form. So the last question now says, so this question says, determine in their simplest form expressions for, and I have state the value of f inverse of negative 2. So here's the thing. So with this question, we're taking this function and we're putting it inside of this function. So I think earlier in this list of questions, we found f inverse of x. So we found f inverse of x to be 3 minus x all divided by 2. So we can say f inverse of x is equal to 3 minus x all divided by 2. So now we want to find f inverse of negative 2. So this will be f inverse of negative 2 will be equal to 3 subtract, instead of x, we'll have negative 2 all divided by 2. Hence, this will be equal to 3 subtract negative 2. So these two negatives will be turned into a positive. So this is equal to 3 subtract negative 2, which will be the same as 3 plus 2 will be equal to 5 over 2. So F inverse of negative 2 is equal to that. So now that we have F inverse of negative 2 being this, now we can take this here and put it inside the function f. So let's remind ourselves what is the function f. So the function f of x is equal to (3 minus 2x). 3 minus 2x. So we have the function f of negative 2. So now let's put that inside of this function. So now we'll have f of, instead of x, we'll have f of 5 over 2, because this is what f inverse of 2 is equal to. So this here is equal to 3. So this piece here is equal to 5 over 2. So that's how we end up with f of 5 over 2. And this will be equal to 3 subtract 2 multiplied by x, which is 5 over 2. And this will be equal to 3 subtract 2 times 5 over 2. 2 times 5 would be 10. And 10 divided by 2 would be 5. Hence, this will further give us 3 subtract 5 would be a negative 2. So hence we can conclude f inverse of negative 2 is equal to negative 2. And hence this is the answer for 1 mark. And the reason why this is worth 1 mark, because we already found most of the things in the previous questions that we did. And it's just for us to do some substituting now. And with that, this has brought me to the end of this video. And I will see you in the next one. And remember, keep practicing. So take care until then.